himself. Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm here to talk about the best hacks for taking a baby under 1 to Disney. I know what you're thinking. You've probably been told, why would you take a baby under 1 to Disney? They're not going to enjoy themselves. It's going to be so hard on you. They're not going to remember anything. And I am here to tell you that don't listen to any of that, because taking a baby under 1 to Disney can be so much fun. We just got back from a trip last month with our daughter Chloe. She was almost 11 months when we went, and it was incredible. Our memories are so amazing, and even though she won't remember this trip, we have tons of pictures, tons of video, and just a lot of stories that we can tell her about how fun it was and how much she truly did enjoy it. And it really was such a great trip. Even my husband, who is not a huge Disney person and wasn't really sure about this trip, the entire time leading up to it, he was just kept saying, I don't know. And even he truly enjoyed this trip. Got more out of it than we ever anticipated that he would. All right, well, with all that backstory, let's get into all of my hacks and tips and tricks for you guys. Okay, so hack number 1. It's not really a hack, it's more of a tip, but your children under the age of 3 get in for free, and at buffets, they eat for free at Disney. They can also eat off of your plate, obviously, for free at any restaurant, as long as they're not ordering their own meal. But it's pretty amazing that you can get them in under 3 for free. They're really nice, but you can also bring your own food into the park for free, which is my number 2 hack or tip. Bring in a soft-sided cooler or cooler bag with some pouches or some water, whatever your kid is eating at this time, some fruit snacks maybe, things like that. For us, we brought a lot of pouches. We brought a little spoon and a little bowl so we can mix stuff up for her. We brought some bananas, but you are allowed to bring food into the park. So as long as it's in a soft-sided cooler and you don't bring in glass, that's all they ask. So it was really nice to be able to bring that stuff in and not have to spend that extra money while you're already spending a lot of money on this vacation. So that is my second tip. So tip number 1, that they get into the park for free. And tip number 2 is that you can bring your own food along, which is pretty great. Now with babies under the age of 1, something that is gonna most likely come up is either you're breastfeeding or you're bottle feeding, and you want a place that's quiet, that you can sit down, that you can feed your baby. And one of the great things is my tip number 3. Disney has special baby care centers, one at every one of their 4 parks at Disney World. I would say that I could do a completely different video just describing each of those baby centers, and maybe I will, and the perks and benefits of each one, because they're all very different. I will say on this, Magic Kingdom by far has the nicest one, with the best breastfeeding station, comfortable lazy boy chairs that you can sit in a dark room and just feed your kid and have some quiet time. It's air conditioned, and the baby centers have little rooms that husbands or partners or other older children, maybe the grandparents are with, stuff like that. They can kind of sit in those rooms. They've got cartoons playing and stuff like that. So while you're feeding the baby, or while you're maybe holding them in the rocking chair for a nap or something like that, everybody else can kind of sit and enjoy the air conditioning for a little while. They do also offer in those baby care centers lots of things that you might forget to bring along: food, diapers, wipes, pacifiers, bottles, stuff like that. They're for sale. It's Disney prices, so you're going to be paying a premium for getting it right there in the convenience of the baby care center. So I definitely recommend ahead of time checking on the map, looking at where those baby care centers are, and kind of thinking about how you're going to plan your day around maybe when does the baby like to eat and when do you want to go over to those areas. I will say that we didn't always get a chance to make it back to the baby care centers because they don't have them, everywhere. So what we did was, when we could get to the front of the park to go to the baby care center, we did. And when we couldn't, I found other areas for nursing in the park that were quiet, and kind of out of the way. You can find, even when it's super crowded, you can find quiet corners with a bench that's like completely out of the way. We found one next to Pirates of the Caribbean ride where there was no one walking around, completely like off to this path on the side. Or even rides like the People Mover, and that's a good like 10-minute ride, and you're just sitting there by yourself, and it's, especially at night, it's dark. Or the Carousel of Progress, I think that might be even a 30-minute ride. So those are places that get dark and they're more private. So you might have an ability to feed the baby there and still sit down and relax for a little while you do it. And it doesn't have to be at the baby care center. Okay, so my tip number 4. Not everyone's going to recommend this. Honestly, you could watch a million of these videos and people are going to recommend you to schedule your days very differently. But I'm going to recommend that you schedule your mornings. The reason that I recommend that is because for us, we wanted to go back to the room sometimes for nap time. We didn't always go back to the room, but it was really nice to be able to schedule up our mornings and get everything done out of the way, get all of our fast passes done, and then have the ability to go back to the room, put the baby down for a nap, and then maybe some of us could go to the pool or just get some lunch, have a laid back time. So then we could go back to the park after nap time, and you can add in your extra fast passes. Once you've used up all 3 of your fast passes, you can start adding more fast passes on. So we were able to go back and add a ton more fast passes on at the end of the day. I mean, we didn't wait in line for a single ride the entire time we were there, and it was very, very busy. And we were able to go on every ride that we had planned on, except for one, and we ended up skipping one of our fast passes on the last day. But other than that, I really recommend schedule those mornings and think about nap time, think about feeding times, think about that ahead of time. And if you can do that, you'll be in really good place. On that note, also keep in mind, it's a baby, you gotta go with the flow. So sometimes, like I said, we had to cancel one of our scheduled fast passes and didn't end up going on that ride. And sometimes things are just gonna happen, and you just gotta be willing to say, it's okay, we don't have to do everything, especially if you know that you'll come back to Disney another time later on. You know that you can hit those experiences at a later date, and you don't have to be so concerned about, let me make everything, You'll be much happier if you can just kind of like take a deep breath and say, you know what, that's okay. Next time we'll do that. I also do recommend though, if your baby is comfortable with it, trying to do a couple naps in the stroller. We have a stroller that has a full recline on it. It's very comfortable, and our daughter has no problem sleeping in it. And oftentimes we would just kind of walk back and forth around a more quiet area till she fell asleep, and then we could walk around the parks and just explore while she was taking a nap. And so that's also another recommendation I have, is be willing to kind of go with the flow. And if your kid is able to take a nap in the stroller, then you don't have to worry about heading back to the hotel and then coming back and all that. You'll be able to do a lot more with your day that way. My next tip is that you should know about some of the, we'll call them secret entrances. So especially if you're staying at specific resorts, you have different access to some of the entrances or some of the areas that not everybody has access to. So for instance, in Epcot, in the World Showcase area, right around the back over by France, there's an international gateway, it's called, and you can get into the park through that back entrance by boat. And so there's a couple of resorts that take boats there, and I believe Hollywood Studios also takes a boat there. And they are currently building the new gondola system, and once that is completed, the gondolas will be dropping off in that back area as well. So it's going to probably get a little bit more crowded at that point, but that is one way to get to the back of World Showcase versus starting at the front of Epcot and having to go in through the main gate there. So that's something interesting, to think about and to know. I also would like to mention, we talked about fast passes, but we have not talked yet about rider switch. So that's my next tip for you guys. rider switch is a very cool thing that Disney does where, say it's just you, your partner, and your baby that's 10 months old. Maybe you guys want to be able to go on a couple of grown-up rides, and in order to do that, one of you has to stay back with the baby. But you don't want to wait in line twice, that's a waste of time. So what you can do is you can go up to the Fast Pass line. You have to have your baby or child. It's basically the rule is as long as they're too short to ride the ride. So your child or baby that's too small for the ride, go up to the Fast Pass line, you say, hi, can we get a rider switch? And they will add it to your Magic Band for you or your park ticket for you. You go through the line and get on the ride, or you can go through the Fast Pass if you have a Fast Pass, get on the ride, come off, switch, you take the baby, and then your partner's able to go right through the Fast Pass lane, doesn't have to wait in line, and can get right on that ride. So it's really nice and it helps you save a little bit of time. Definitely something I would recommend. I didn't end up needing to use it too often because we did go with my parents as well. So we had 4 adults, and my parents aren't really wanting to go on most of those bigger rides, so we were able to kind of just switch off. But it is definitely something I would recommend taking advantage of. If you are able to, eat in the parks in a restaurant for breakfast, I would recommend it. So Cinderella's Castle was what we ended up doing at Magic Kingdom, and I also recommend doing Garden Grill at Epcot. You can make those reservations for before the park opens. So you're already up early, right? You have a baby. It's very likely that you're already going to be up pretty early in the morning. So might as well take advantage of that early morning and get to the parks before they open. Get in, go eat breakfast, and then you can go on some of those rides, like especially in Magic Kingdom, Fantasyland just opening, there's no lines. Hit Peter Pan, It's a Small World, Winnie the Pooh, all of the big rides that, your little one is going to want to go on, that they're going to get something out of, because if you can hit all those rides super early in the morning before the lines start lining up, you're going to end up getting a lot done before even your first nap of the day, which is just definitely something that I would recommend. We noticed our daughter was really, really involved, awake and alert, happy in the mornings and ready to go. Sometimes by the time the later, afternoon or evening Fast Passes rolled around, she was just too tired and she ended up napping through some of the rides. So that's something that I recommend. Get there early, go to a early breakfast if you can get a reservation, and then get on those rides before they even let anybody else into the park. My next recommendation is to use the My Disney Experience app. Download it on your phone, get comfortable with it ahead of time, and utilize it before you go to your trip so that you know what you're looking at. However, the app will crash, and I have been told this by a lot of people that they have problems while they're there at the park because there's so many people trying to use it. So the next thing I can recommend while using the app is you're gonna have your Fast Passes on there, take a screenshot of them. So that way in your phone, you have all of the times for your Fast Passes, and then you won't end up missing one because you can't get the app to load and you don't know what time it starts or which ride is next. So that's something that's really nice. It doesn't work as well if you're going to be trying to update your rides and change things throughout the day. Then you're going to have to kind of keep up with it. But I definitely recommend using the app, getting it ahead of time, getting used to it, getting comfortable with it, and then taking those screenshots of your Fast Passes. My almost last, I have 2 more. My second to last is get the Memory Maker Photo Pass and get it ahead of time. So you'll save about $30 if you buy it ahead of time. I think it's $169 if you buy it ahead of time, and if you buy it within a few days, I think it's within like 3 days of your trip, it's $199. So get it ahead of time and utilize it. They have photographers everywhere, and they take beautiful, beautiful photos. We got so many great family photos, and honestly, that's cheaper than a photographer that I would pay for at home for like a birthday photo shoot or something like that. So paying that $169 and getting all of those family photos and being able to get all your ride photos. They make special magical ones. My dad's birthday was while we were there, and they like had him hold like this and had a big thing of balloons like coming out of his hand, digitally put in there, and it's really kind of cool. So I would recommend that. It's something cool that you'll be able to have those photos to look back at later, and like I said, you know, the baby's not gonna have the memories, but they will have those photos, and that would be really cool. If you can swing it, I definitely recommend it. So my very last recommendation is go in with low expectations. I knew it was going to be difficult bringing a baby, and so I went in with very low expectations, and I could not have been more pleasantly surprised. I had an amazing time. My husband, my parents, and my daughter all had amazing times. We thoroughly enjoyed our trip. We were able to utilize these tips that I've told you guys about. We were able to have such fun with it, but we went in with low expectations. We went in knowing if we even make one fast pass today and get on one ride today and we have a baby smiling for just a portion of the day, we'll be happy. And honestly, she did great. She was smiling almost the entire time, and she was really engaged and having a really good time. But because we went in with low expectations, I think that we weren't, we didn't hype ourselves up too much and then become disappointed if we had to miss something, or if we had to change our plans around it all. I do want to do a nice shout out here to the cast members at Disney, and I will say that bringing a baby to Disney was pretty cool for that reason. The cast members are amazing. They are incredible. They went above and beyond to make, play peekaboo and make silly faces, and I have some video and some pictures of specific cast members at restaurants and at shows and things that just were really engaging with my daughter and really like bringing out this like joyful side of her, this giggle, this laugh, this smile, and it really truly made such a difference. And that's something that you don't get everywhere you go. Not every amusement park and not you go to is going to have these super engaged, happy people that just really want to bring out joy in your family, and Disney definitely has that. So something to definitely keep in mind. So hopefully these tips help you while you're planning your trip. If you enjoyed all of these tips, please like the video, hit the subscribe button. I hope to be able to continue to make a few more videos like this. Let's start making videos about traveling and traveling with my family, because it's something that I truly do enjoy and that I think we get a lot out of. So like I said, yes, please like the video, hit the subscribe button, comment below, let me know what your favorite tips are, what your favorite hacks are, whether or not it's with a baby or by yourself. I'd love to hear some of your advice for traveling in Disney. All right, thanks so much for watching.